I have been married to my husband for 6 years, and we have 2 kids together, 8M and 4M. Our youngest has special needs. My husband also has a daughter, 12F, from his previous relationship. His ex has had primary custody, and my husband gets his daughter on weekends and alternating holidays and birthdays. This past weekend, my stepdaughter asked my husband if she could come live with him full-time. Her mom recently moved in with her fiancé and his kids, and there has been some friction with that, from what I understand. Nothing nefarious, just a new house, new rules, having to share a bedroom, etc. My husband didn't give her an answer either way, he just said he would look into it. When he and I were discussing it, I had the following objections. My stepdaughter and our kids do not get along. It is something we have worked on for years, in and out of therapy, and it just isn't happening. My stepdaughter resents mine for existing and is cruel toward my youngest because of their special needs. There have been issues with her bullying, and my oldest is very protective of his little brother and hates my stepdaughter for being mean to him. He has started physical altercations with her over it. The truth is that most of the time we have my stepdaughter, I make arrangements to take the boys to visit their grandparents, or my husband takes her out for daddy-daughter time to avoid conflict. I cannot imagine how living together full-time would be for them. Also, we really don't have room. We have a 4-bedroom home, and both my husband and I work from home to be caregivers for our youngest. Due to the nature of his problems, it is not feasible for him and my oldest to share a room. It wouldn't be safe or fair for my oldest. My stepdaughter's room is used as my office space during the week. I arrange my vacation time around her visits so I can stay out of her space while she is here. I have to take very sensitive phone calls and need a closed door when I work, so common areas are not an option, and my husband uses our bedroom as his office, so that's out too. We don't currently have room in the budget to make an addition to the house or remodel non-livable spaces. My husband hears my objections and understands them, but he wants to go for it and figures that everything will eventually work out. He doesn't want his daughter to think he is abandoning her. I feel for the girl. It would be truly awful for your dad to say no when you ask if you can live with him. But I have my own kids to think about, and I do not believe that her living here is in their best interest at all, considering their history and our current living arrangements. Does saying no to this put me in evil stepmom territory? Edit. For those who want to label me a horrible homewrecker and an evil stepmom, sorry to disappoint, but we did not have an affair. My husband and my stepdaughter's mom were never married or in a relationship. They were friends with benefits, bartending together, chatting, and sometimes getting drunk and sleeping together. My husband claims he needed booze goggles because she wasn't his type. When my stepdaughter's mom found out she was pregnant, she told my husband she was keeping the baby and asked if he wanted to be involved. They never lived together, except for a few weeks during the newborn stage to help out. Yes, I had my first child before marrying my husband. We were in a long-term relationship when I had a birth control malfunction. We discussed our options and decided to raise the child. A few days later, my husband proposed. I wanted time to recover from birth and wait until our child was old enough to stay with the grandparents for a week so we could enjoy our wedding. We didn't get married until my oldest was 2. Regarding my youngest son's disabilities, my stepdaughter's bullying, and my oldest's fighting, there has been a lot of projection and speculation. My youngest son has both physical and mental difficulties. He uses multiple kinds of medical and therapy equipment. My stepdaughter has shoved him out of his wheelchair, pinched him hard enough to leave bruises, and hit his face when he was having trouble verbalizing. I don't care if this is normal sibling behavior. It is alarming enough to me that I feel it is best for my youngest to spend as little time as possible with her until this behavior completely stops. I will say it has lessened quite a bit. We went through a period where it happened frequently, and it has slowed. The last incident was 2 months ago when my stepdaughter grabbed my son's wheelchair and aggressively pushed him out of her way because he was blocking the hallway. One of the times my oldest son started an altercation with her was because she told him that his brother was not a real person, and that she was going to call the hospital to have him taken away so they could perform experiments to find out what he was. She went into detail about things they would do to him, like ripping his fingernails out. My son did lose his temper and hit her. He was immediately disciplined, and we had an age-appropriate discussion about how his heart is in the right place wanting to protect his little brother, but he needs to find an adult when something like that happens. This was not made up. My stepdaughter admitted she said it when my husband was able to sit her down and talk with her later in the day. I am not allowed to discipline or have parenting talks with her, per her bio mom's wishes. I am not welcome to be part of my stepdaughter's therapy journey, also per her bio mom's wishes. She does not want me involved. My husband has always been worried about rocking the boat with her bio mom on these things, so I do not know the extent of her therapeutic treatments. I do know she goes to therapy during the week, and my husband has attended sessions, but it isn't something he is free to discuss with me. So, I am in the dark about that. Commenter. My concern would be why she wants to leave. Is there more to this story? If she wants to leave because of abuse or neglect, then while her moving in may not be a permanent solution, doing nothing would make you the problem. That being said, if she wants to leave for something minor, like not being allowed to stay up late on a weekend, then the biological parents need to have a sit-down and sort it out. Ops response. She is upset that she has to share a room with her soon-to-be stepsister, who is moving out in the fall and just needs it for weekends, home, and holiday breaks. Bio mom and her partner decided that all kids will follow the same set of rules in their household, so she has new limitations on screen time and more household responsibilities. Nothing nefarious like abuse or neglect. Update 1. So last week, my husband and I sat down together and talked about my stepdaughter coming to live with us full-time and how that would work out. It was a difficult discussion because, as some Redditors had suggested, I really pushed hard for him to think things through and figure out the obstacles. Where would he and I work? Common areas are out due to the nature of our jobs. I can't because of employer restrictions, and he does some adult things in his work that we don't want the kids to see. How are we going to handle the animosity and bullying between the kids? What consequences would be in place? We talked about what expectations would be for my stepdaughter living here full-time versus just weekends, about how she probably has unrealistic expectations about what the nitty-gritty of life here is like. We talked through every possibility we could come up with, including out there possibilities like selling our home or separating our household and living apart for a while. We ran numbers to see how it might affect our finances. Ultimately, we agreed that the answer was not yet, with a goal for our family to work towards it. We decided that the best course of action would be to slowly adjust the amount of time she spends in our home versus a sudden custody switch. So, on Friday night, my husband took my stepdaughter out to talk to her about everything. He explained to her that she wouldn't have her own room at our place for a couple of years, but that is something at the top of the list for home improvements once our youngest handicap accessibility renovations are paid off. He talked to her about what expectations of living with us would be like, that she would have chores and responsibilities. Most importantly, they talked about the bullying and laid down the provision that we needed to see her relationship and attitude towards her brothers improve before she can live here full-time. My stepdaughter obviously wasn't thrilled about any of this, but she said okay and that she would do better with her brothers. So, on Saturday, I made arrangements for my parents to watch our sons, and we invited my stepdaughter's mom over so we could all sit down and figure out how my stepdaughter can start to spend more time here. That's when it all fell apart. Her mom is most definitely not okay with a change in custody at all. Absolutely not was her answer. She took my stepdaughter home early on Saturday. My husband tried to reach out to my stepdaughter on Sunday to see how she was, and to ask if she wanted to do their guitar lesson over Skype or something since her mom took her home early, but she never responded. He called her mom, and she informed him that my stepdaughter had lost her phone privileges. We don't really know what is going on with all that. Edit. It turns out she threw her phone at her mom's face, hitting her and cracking the screen. Her mom isn't giving it back until my stepdaughter has paid off the deductible. We do have alternative forms of contact with her at this time. Also, no, my stepdaughter's mom didn't come to us first about the custody change. My stepdaughter asked the weekend before last if she could live with us because she and her mom recently moved in with her mom's partner. My husband told her that we would need to discuss it and figure out if it was a possibility. We didn't talk to her mom until we knew what our answer was. As soon as her mom found out my stepdaughter wanted to spend more time with us, she shut it down immediately. I know a lot of people have been speculating that my stepdaughter may be abused, and I understand the concern, as it can happen to anyone. However, I don't have any reason to believe that is happening here. And for those curious, my husband does video editing for various clients, including those in the adult film industry. They send him raw footage, and he creates saleable videos and teaser trailers for them. He also edits YouTube videos, special event videos, and even local commercials. The way we see it, everyone's money is spent the same. One day he edits a commercial for the local church's annual yard sale, and the next, an adult video. We just have to be careful about when and where he edits the adult content so none of the kids walk in on him. We make sure he only does that work when I'm not working, so he can stay behind the locked door with headphones on. Update 2. My husband has a daughter from before our relationship. We also have 2 children of our own, one of whom is severely special needs. He and his daughter's biological mom never had a formal custody arrangement, but due to some recent drama and changes, it became apparent that we needed to get something formal and court-ordered in place. So, we consulted an attorney. During this process, we discovered that my husband wasn't listed on the birth certificate. We had paternity testing done. My husband is not the biological father. He is absolutely devastated. He's spiraling and hurting so much, and I can't do anything to take his pain away. We've hugged and cried together many times this week. He's not okay. He's flip-flopping between despair and anger. The anger scares me. His knuckles are all messed up from hitting something, and he wouldn't talk to me about what happened. Everything is falling apart at home. My husband is in no place to be a father and partner right now. I sent our oldest to my sister's, but my youngest is having a really bad week with his medical issues. I think he picks up on the stress and mood of the house. We had to go to the ER last night due to increased seizure activity. When I came home, my husband was drunk. He became belligerent and demanded I have our sons tested too. He didn't even ask how our son was doing. I was so pissed off but held my tongue and walked out of the room. I left a few Gatorades and some aspirin next to him after he passed out. I'm trying to get him in to see a therapist, but no luck so far. We haven't told my stepdaughter or her biological mom yet. We've already skipped one of our regularly scheduled visitations with her, and another is coming up soon. So, that needs to be dealt with ASAP. I just don't know what to do. I'm so afraid right now. I don't know how much longer I can hold things together. I want off this ride.